Well, hey, good morning, everybody. It is Coach RJ. I am the CEO and founder of the Impact You movement, where our mission is to educate, to encourage, and to empower people with the tools necessary so that they can live out the best version of themselves. And listen, I am so excited. It's Wednesday morning, and I am extremely excited because I have an opportunity to share this digital space with you at this particular moment and time in your life. Every Wednesday from 8 to 8:15 Eastern Standard Time, I bring to you what I have been calling a moment of impact. And I do it on Wednesdays simply because I believe it's not always how you start, but it's how you finish. And our goal is to help make sure you have an excellent finish to the remainder of your week. Listen, I am excited to share with you all just a brief message this morning. I have been in I have transitioned to a new career. I've been in sales and sales management for pretty much all my life. I've been in coaching and development pretty much all of my life, but I'm in a different sector now. And the company I work for, our main responsibility is to help strengthen the phone skills of those salespersons at particular companies. And the way that we do that is we have phone calls with them, and we review their phone calls with their general manager or perhaps an owner or a dealer, and then we have a conversation about it. And typically when I have these conversations, what happens is I'm talking to a general manager, and he or she, after listening to one of the calls, I'll ask a question. Hey, give me your thoughts. Typically they'll say, well, they sounded okay. All right. So then I'll go to the next call, play that call, let them listen to it. And I say, hey, so what do you think about that call? And, they'll say something like, it was all right. Then I'll give them a third call, let them listen to it. Then I'll ask them one more time, hey, what were your thoughts on that call? Typically they'll respond, from anywhere from, hey, that was great, or, it really sucked. And once they share that information with me, once I have an understanding of how they feel about the actual phone call, and they say things like, they're okay, or, that's pretty average, then I proceed to present to them solutions to help them get better. Because really that's the business that I am in, is to help provide solutions to help these respective businessmen and women get better. And oftentimes when I share solutions, oftentimes they push back and they begin to make excuses. What do you mean they make excuses? Well, oftentimes they push back and they make excuses, things like, well, it's not that bad. And make excuses, things like, well, it was okay. They make excuses, and their excuses are simply saying to me loud and clear that they're okay being just okay. In essence, what they're saying to me is they're settling for the people that are the face of their company being just okay. And let me say this morning, our conversation, our dialogue, it isn't about phone skills training. It isn't about developing and coaching those who are going to be picking up and answering phones. But this morning, it's about how each of us, those of you all who are gathered here, those of you all that are listening to me this morning, it's about how each of us have chosen to live our lives. Now, let me say this in advance. If you're okay with being average, if you're okay with where you are, if you're okay with what some have coined as a phrase, that'll do, then listen, you don't have to listen to me any longer. You can hit stop and you can go about your day. But today, February 17th, it's for the people that want more. It's for the people who are saying, help, I'm not okay. And I can speak from personal experience because there have been moments in my life, where I have been operating at an average level. And I had to look myself in the mirror and say, help, listen, I'm not okay. In other words, I'm not okay with being average. I'm not okay with having an average marriage. I'm not okay with having average friendships. I'm not okay with having an average income. I'm not okay with having an average health. I'm not okay with having average in my life. But the reality is that far too many people are okay with having average. And again, if that's you, it's okay. That's fine. But let me share this with you. If you're okay with having average, if you're okay with operating at an average level, hear me carefully, then stop expecting excellence from others or above average work from others if you yourself are okay with average. Yeah, let me get closer to you because I want to make sure you understand me. If you're okay with average, then stop expecting above average or excellence from others if you yourself are unwilling to go the extra mile. But for those of y'all who are like me and you said, help, listen, I'm not okay. I'm not okay with average. I'm not okay with it. I want something more. Let me share with you how you can get to a place where you have an above average marriage, an above average relationship, an above average health, above average financial position, above average career. Let me share with you. The first thing that you got to understand is that if you want to move from average to above average, it requires that you have a paradigm shift. Listen to me closely. It requires a paradigm shift. No, I can't start moving stuff around out here until I make some changes up here. And I say that because far too many people aren't able to move beyond the level of living or the average space that you've been living in. Watch this. Because they have lived averaged, they have had average, and they have accepted average for too long. Anytime you operate in a space the same way for any length of time, then you get settled in a groove. And so you've got to have a paradigm shift. Because if you don't have a paradigm shift, then you won't do whatever it takes to operate at an above average level. Here it is. So many of you all have gotten in a groove of average. And so now you've settled there. Now you live there. And now because you have settled there and you live there, your expectation for anything more has been diminished. And so when other people come to you and they try to push you, they try to encourage you, they try to say, hey man, there's so much more inside of you. You reject them, you push back, and you start making excuses by saying, man, it's okay. I'm good. No, I'm good. No, I don't need another stream of income. No, I'm good. No, I'm good with the way my health is. I mean, my wife, she loves me. You know, we both have gained weight, so I'm good. Because you've settled into a groove of living average. You know why the top people in the world, or the top earners in the world, are the top earners? Because they made a decision. They had a paradigm shift. And they said, hey, everybody can live average. But that's not what's for me. So first of all, you gotta have a paradigm shift. Because if you've never had anything other than average, and you've never experienced anything other than average, then all you know is average. If you grew up around average, if you're currently surrounded by average, all the people in your circle are average, then you don't know anything but average. And if you only know average, if you're only surrounded by average, if you've only been in an environment of average, then you will believe that average is all you got. Then you'll start believing that there isn't anything better. You'll start believing that there's nothing I can do better. You'll start believing that I don't deserve better. So not only must you have a paradigm shift, but then the second thing necessary is that you got to move from the paradigm shift to then you have to be intentional about making changes. Listen, I cannot do anything out here differently until I do something up here differently. See, my beliefs impact my behavior. I cannot behave beyond my beliefs. So that's why I have to have a paradigm shift. But then I have to be intentional. Once my mind is shifted, then I have to be intentional about making changes. Now, here's the thing. I use the term intentional. There it is. You have to be intentional. This is not something that's going to happen organically. No, but you have to be intentional. I talked about having your circle being average. Hear me carefully. If you don't recognize that your circle is average, you'll stay there. But once you recognize it, then I don't care if they've been your friends for life. I don't care if they've been holding you down. B.O.B., hold me down. I don't care if y'all are down like 4 flat tires. If you want more, then you got to get a different circle. So then you got to be intentional about surrounding yourself with people who are operating at a higher level than you are operating at right now. You got to be intentional. If all of the couples that you're surrounded by, that you know, man, if all of the couples that you are surrounded by, man, all they do is argue and fight, and you know the husband is cheating and skipping and dipping and things that are good, then you got to say, hey, you know what? You got to love them. Keep that relationship, but then you got to be intentional about connecting with people who are moving in the direction you're wanting to go in. It's got to be intentional. This is not something that's going to organically happen. Why do I say intentional? Because as you are pushing yourself to be more, to do more, and become more, when you hit roadblocks, watch this, your natural tendency is to fall back to what's comfortable, what's familiar, and what's easy, which is average. I'm getting ready to wrap up, but average is what got you where you are right now. And average is what's going to keep you where you are right now. So you have to be intentional about making changes. You have to be intentional about it. So I decided that I wanted more for my family from a financial perspective. So I surrounded myself with people who have more financial knowledge than I have. Watch this. I was intentional about it. I sought them out. And then I listened to them. Because I wanted, this is just one sector, but because I wanted more, I listened to them. We talk about generational wealth. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into this, but we talk about generational wealth and leaving something for my children's children's children. So then I had to start. I've heard about stocks. I heard about options. I heard about, investments. But a lot of people I was surrounded by, that wasn't the language that they were speaking. Let me pause real quick and say this. You know that you're surrounded by average people based on the language that they use. Let me get back to it. And so because I had that paradigm shift, then I was intentional about surrounding myself with people who are further along than me, but can also and are willing to reach back and give me some insight. When you have a paradigm shift, and then when you are intentional about it, so your belief impacts your behavior. And then at the end, you can start reaping the benefits. But you'll never reap the benefits if you never change your behaviors. And you'll never change your behaviors if you never change your beliefs. Help! I'm not okay. Listen, man, it's been great. I'll see you guys on the other side. I hope y'all have a fantastic day, an impactful day. And remember, every Wednesday morning from 8 to 8:15 Eastern Standard Time, we bring you a moment of impact. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Impact You Movement. All right. You guys have a great day. Love you all. Peace out.